So today I'm going to be speaking to you about what you see on your screen there. If I was looking for a title of my presentation today, it would be using marketing boost to increase your sales and to bless others. Because that's exactly how I use marketing boost. I use it to increase my sales in my secular life, if you will. And as a pastor, I use it to bless others in my spiritual life, if you will. So I do want to thank also James in the back of Uber a few minutes ago. He did a great job with this presentation and speaking about being very transparent about his personal challenges through life and how now he has turned that around. And Marketing Boost is a big addition to helping him be even more successful, especially with him giving back to the nonprofits that are near and dear to his heart. For me, this is a win-win situation, having partnered with Marketing Boost. A little bit about me, for those of you that do not know me, I'm Alan Guerra, and you do, to say my last name properly, you do have to roll the R's. So it is Guerra, and we are very proud to be part of the Marketing Boost family. I'm a licensed financial advisor. We are part of First Financial Security. On the secular side, that's what I do. I've been doing this for about 8 years, going on 8 years. And the reason I got in, just give you a 30-second explanation why I do this on the secular side. About 8 years ago, my mom passed away. She went to heaven. And before she did that, I went a few months before she passed away, I had a conversation with her about, Mom, when you eventually, pass away, what kind of arrangements have you made? Because I was not thoroughly familiar with the insurance market, life insurance market or field. And so my mom said, son, he said, mijo, a term of endearment, Spanish term of endearment, mijo, don't worry about it. I have this covered. She mentioned to me that she had purchased, had seen an ad on TV, and she had purchased a life insurance policy for $10 a month. And she was already in her early 70s. She was already ill. And she explained to me, I got this covered. I said, wonderful, wonderful. That's great, Mom. Well, come to find out, that old adage, you get what you pay for. When she eventually passed away, and my brothers and I were sitting there at the mortuary with the funeral director, he picked up my mom's insurance policy, and he literally read it, the first part of it, and he literally slid it across the table back to me. And he said to me, this is worthless. And I said, no, my mom has been paying her $10. This is a valid life insurance policy. Then he pointed out to me, he said, read the first two words right on top of the policy. And I read them, and he said, accidental death, life insurance policy. So immediately I understood that this policy was only going to cover a person that had passed away from an accident, and that did not include automobile accidents. So it only covers people that, if a meteor falls from the sky, hits you in the head, something like that. So it's very, very rare. That's why they're able to give them away for $10 a month to people that are elderly and already sick, because they know that the likelihood is that they will not ever have to pay out on most of those policies. So right there, we realized the policy wasn't any good. There's three of us. The funeral director said, well, it's $14,000 and you have to pay me within 3 days. And so my brothers and I looked at each other and we said, well, that's $5,000 a piece. And one of my brothers was not able to come up with his share. As a result of that, I got to experience what it is to go out there and beg for money to bury someone that you love. It is unpleasant. It's shameful at times. It's stress on top of stress. And it left a bad taste in my mouth. So I wanted to learn how to help people avoid or not have to go through what I went through. And that's when I went back to school, started my classes, and got state licensed. And that started a journey that has developed over time. And now 8 years later, we are able to do a lot of work, helping a lot of people. But the genesis for me was experiencing a very negative situation in my personal life and trying to make a difference, learn so that I can make a difference in other people's lives. so that they would not have to experience what my family and I went through. So that's what launched my financial services life, if you will. That was 8 years ago, and now 8 years later, we are very proud of the work that we're able to do. On the spiritual side, I'm also a pastor. As you see there, nearly 40 years of ministerial service. Currently, I serve as the vice president as well as of the Christian Ministerial Alliance, and I'm a board member with the Solomon Pastoral Ministry. So we keep very busy, both on the secular side, but also on the ministerial side as well. What I focus on, for those of you that may be out there on the webinar, I focus on financial services. We work with retirement plans. We work with life insurance. We work with annuities and college savings. We work with several, as independent brokers, we work with several companies. So we try to find the best solution for our clients, regardless of their age, health, or financial status. This is the area, again, that makes my money. And this is the areas where partnering with Marketing Boost has been an absolute godsend. It really has. So what I do, I simply, when people ask me what I do, this is my answer. I specialize in protecting the financial future of families. That's really my area of expertise. Our business model is set up. How do we, what's our client acquisition business model? We do that through group presentations. So we do not work with individual leads. We do not purchase leads. We do not, in fact, we do very little advertising to none at all, because our business model of client acquisition is based upon simply doing group presentations. We focus, for example, as you see here, that's me doing a group presentation on retirement to police departments. We do the same thing with public and private schools. There I am at a school, as you see there as well, doing a presentation. So all teachers at a school, speaking to them about retirement options. Because of my ministry, I also then started working several years ago with churches, and there I am giving a very important talk, financial literacy to pastors, and the importance of protecting them for their retirements and their families in case of death. I do a lot of work with the minority communities, African American, Latino churches, Asian. I get a lot of invitations, and because really there's a lot of need in that community, those communities, and for me it is a wonderful thing, really, to be able to go out there and share the information that I've learned, so that we can protect people's lives. And again, our client acquisition as well, through doing group presentations at churches as well. But we also do it with businesses. Recently, I got invited out of the blue to a neighborhood dental office. I have one of my clients is the manager there. He called me up last month out of the blue and said, listen, I have about 10 employees in my small dental office. Will you come and speak to us about our 401ks and other options for retirement? And I went. I came out of there with about 4 new clients. So we'll go anywhere, but our primary client acquisition model has been through doing group presentations, right? And as a result of the presentation, we come out of there with not leads, but as you see in front of you, we come out of there with pre-set appointments. So it's a very powerful client acquisition model, because we don't have to deal with leads that are purchased from some company that have been sold and resold multiple times. When I get one of these papers in front of me, this is a person that knows who I am, has seen me in person, has seen my presentation. And at the closing of my presentation, when I asked, does anyone want to make an appointment? Does anyone have any questions that you would like for us to visit you to give you a free consultation on your retirement and your life insurance? Those hands go up and we walk out with these papers, which is not a lead, but as you see there, it's a pre-set appointment. So it's a very powerful business model that we use. It absolutely works. So the difference, obviously, working with leads or working with pre-set appointments is that obviously then our likelihood of success goes way up, right? And our business model, as taught not only for me personally as a minister, but also as the next speaker who will come up next year, Javier Rodriguez, who is my director as well. Our business model as well is geared on leading by giving. And so a lot of the opportunities that we get to speak to the invitations that we receive from law enforcement, from schools, from churches, is because we lead by giving. So we, as you see in the picture there, we sponsor barbecue fundraisers, for example, for law enforcement to raise funds for their projects, right? We sponsored a church barbecue fundraisers to help the churches with their specific ministry needs, right? We give away sports equipment to the various schools. We donate tablets so the principal can recognize the teacher of the month. In other words, we lead by giving, and in return, that opens up the door for that principal to say, come and speak to my group of teachers. That opens the door for that lieutenant, for that captain to say, come and speak to my group of police officers about their retirement in churches. As I'll share with you in a few minutes. The same thing, that giving is what opens the door for us to go out and do, in our case, a financial literacy presentation, and in return for us that generates clients of preset appointments. So that's how, up to this point, that is how we have been working our business model, and it absolutely works. For me, a couple of years ago, when we were introduced to Marketing Boost, that became a game changer. It absolutely became a game changer. I was doing good doing my church barbecues. I was doing good with my business, boosting it up. But when we became aware of Marketing Boost, and I became aware of it through our director, Javier Rodriguez, whom you'll hear next. And I was very skeptical. I'm going to share with you how skeptical I was, very skeptical of the trips, because about a third of my clients are police officers that wear guns right here on their hips. And the first thing that came into my mind, wow, the last thing I want to do is send a police officer to some godforsaken hotel in Cancun, for him to have a bad experience, for him to come back really upset, shoot me or kill me or cancel policy or sue me, something. And primarily when I didn't have to do this because he was already my client. So to me, I saw nothing but downside, no upside, because we were going to be using them as a reward to VIP clients initially. So I saw no upside whatsoever at all. But as you'll see right now in the next few slides, thank God that our fearless leader, Javier, persisted. And I'm glad that I listened, and I'm glad that I tested the waters, because as you see in this slide, to my business and to my ministry, Marketing Boost not only has been in addition to my business, Marketing Boost has been an absolute game changer. So one of the things that has allowed me to do, now that I got my feet wet, and once was able to learn the program and being able to finesse the process of me helping churches, partnering with Marketing Boost has allowed me to put together a really nice church fundraising program that I use using Marketing Boost trip incentives. And the purpose of the church fundraising program that I use, as you see below, it really there's two targets in mind. One, to help the churches raise as much money as possible for their ministry needs, and number two, to bless those that bless the church. That simple, right? And so what we did, we fine-tuned the program. I've been doing this for 2 years now, and so it's a really simple. It's easy to implement. There's no fine print. We do it in just a few minutes. And it allows us to partner with the churches. And for me personally, that's what I seek. I don't seek to go to a church to sell them something. I don't seek to go to a church to go in and to go out. As you see here in this slide right here, what I really seek and I try to establish is a connection with that pastor and a partnership with that church, not just for one event, but forever. I try to develop those friendships so that pastor knows that he can call me in the future if there's a need, if he needs to do another fundraiser, anything else that they need in the future. I seek partnerships, not just one-time events. And this is a very positive thing, a message perhaps for other people that are on the webinar, regardless of the type of business that we're in. When we make partnerships with our clients, then they become our client for today, but also for tomorrow. Very, very important. It's a philosophy that I believe in very strongly, and partnering with Marketing Boost has actually made it easier for me to develop these partnerships with the churches. So through Marketing Boost, then what we do, we are able to sponsor a specific church fundraising project. For example, let's say the church needs a new PA system. Maybe they need new microphones. Maybe they need a new projector. Maybe they need new pews. Maybe they need to purchase a new van, a new piano, maybe for international mission strategies. There's always needs in a church. And before I go any further, let me just make one further clarification that by design, I only choose to partner with small churches, meaning typically 150 members or less, 100 members or less. Those for me are my sweet spot, because if I go to a large church, 1,000 members, they don't need me. They don't need to fundraise. They got a lot of money. If they're that big and they have their own, a whole block worth of property, and then they're probably not going to even let me through the door. But small churches, and they are everywhere. Small churches nowadays, just driving through a mall. I mean, they small strip malls. They are everywhere. Those small churches are my sweet spot. Why? Because I already know when I go speak to the pastor, the answer to my question, Mr. Pastor, is there a need in your church that you could use some help with fundraising? Then I already know the answer to that question. The answer is going to be, heck yes, absolutely. Mr. Pastor, with an extra $1,000, be able to help for your a project in your church with an extra $2,000. And the answer, if I go to a small church, will always be yes. And so that's why I choose to help assist only small churches. So I ask them, what's the need in your church? Do you need new rugs? Do you need a new carpeting? Do you need, again, the PA system? What is it that you need? And based on that specific need, then we build an event that targets fundraising just for that specific purpose. And so what we do then is as you're going to see in a few slides here, then we set up an event for that Sunday for that church. We put it on our calendar, and we are able to partner with them by doing a church donation appreciation program that we do in conjunction here by using Marketing Boost trip incentives. So when we are there at the presentation at the church, it takes me 10, 15 minutes max. I remind the church members that it's biblical scripture that God loves a cheerful giver, and that it is a more blessed thing to give than to receive, right? And here is then the program I explained to them in a very simple way, very simple, no fine print. Simply, here's the need that the pastor has presented. We need to buy a new van. Well, for every person sitting in this pews today that makes a $100 donation to the church project, not to me, I don't even touch the money. I have nothing to do with the money. When I'm standing up there, I have the church treasurer standing up next to me, or the church secretary standing next to me. But it's really, really simple. For every person that blesses your church with a $100 donation, on behalf of my company, absolutely free and without any commitment to anything, we will give you a free vacation stay in Cancun, Hawaii, or Vegas. I then ask, who wants to go to Cancun? And about half of the hands go up. I ask who wants to go to Hawaii. About another 25% of hands go up. I ask who wants to go to Vegas, and the gamblers in the congregation, those hands go up. And it is that simple. So now I have by design used that $100 number because then it makes the math very easy. For example, if I go to a congregation that only has 50 members, and I love those kind of congregations, I've been to many of them, well, then that lets me know going in that potentially we can raise about $5,000 in 5 minutes. To a pastor of a small congregation, raising $5,000 in 5-10 minutes, he probably has never seen that before. And it's an amazing thing. It's a wonderful thing. And we don't make it any more complicated than that. Now, we try to get 100% participation of the adults sitting in the pews that Sunday in the church. That's why we used the $100 donation instead of 1,000, instead of 500, because we want everyone to donate. We make it really easy so that everyone, even if you work at Jack in the Box, man, you can do this. You can be able to listen to your church. And in return for that, you're going to be blessed as well. It's that simple. It's that easy. We don't touch the money, and the results are there. So again, this is just another, we have this flyer that we pass out. Every person that donates the $100 to the church is going to receive a 6-day, 5-night stay in Cancun and us. You see some of the features there about taking that Cancun trip. So people get excited about it. People get, there's also some people with some doubts, no doubt. But then we also, during the presentation, it's a 10-minute presentation that I give. The first 5 minutes lets them know who I am on my business side, how my company sponsors this vacation getaway. In the next 5 minutes, we simply let them know about the trip, how legitimate it is, right? We let them know they can go to Cancun. We let them know they can go to Hawaii. We let them know they can go to Vegas, right? And we explain to them, they're all 4- and 5-star resorts and hotels. This is not Mickey Mouse. This is not Motel 6. They're all going to have a stay at a very, very nice location, such as the Mayan Palace in Cancun, right? And here I am doing one of those 10-minute presentations. Very simple, very easy, nothing complicated. I make it very, very transparent, right? So what is the results? As you see here in front of you, what is the results? Right there in front of you. This right here, I'm with the pastor of a small church. And we were able in 10 minutes to raise for him, sitting in those pews that Sunday, were 30 members. That's it, 30 members. And in 10 minutes, we had raised $2,500, as you see there. That to him, he was amazed. He had never seen that before, and he had never witnessed that before, certainly not in his church. And in 10 minutes, we raised $2,500 for his church. Here's another pastor. Again, small congregation. I think he had like 25 members sitting down, or 30 members at that Sunday. We raised in 10 minutes, $2,500. Here's another pastor in Orange County, California. We raised $3,000 in 10 minutes. Here's another pastor. This is a little town outside of San Diego called Fallbrook. It's not even in the city. It's out there in the boonies. He had 50 people sitting down there when we started. We counted them. 50 adults, close to 50 adults, and we raised, as you see there, $6,000. The reality is, for his church, we raised about close to $7,000. Why? Because I encourage, once we do the presentation, I encourage everyone in that congregation to go out and tell their family and their friends and their co-workers that if they donate $100 to the church, I will give them a trip to Cancun, Hawaii, or Las Vegas. So what happens after the event, additional monies keep pouring in. And that's what happens in just about every single church. So the result is in just about every single church, an additional $500 to $1,000 comes in after the program, simply because of outside money that keeps on pouring in. Here's a church where we were able to raise $10,000. That's amazing for a small congregation. If you can, again, if you can appreciate our member or have been to a small church, these kinds of monies are simply unbelievable, right? And I want you to appreciate this picture. right? So on the left side, it's the same pastor, it's the same church, but you see on the picture on the left side, that was 2 years ago when I went to that church and I did a barbecue fundraiser. If you look at me, I look all tired, sweaty, because I was there all day long flipping burgers, trying to bless this church to do a fundraiser for him. I raised $500 from the barbecue, another $500 through a laptop that I donated that was raffled, $1,000. And on the right, you see, I went back a year later with the marketing boost trip incentives. And instead of all day long barbecuing in 10 minutes, I had raised for the same pastor, the same congregation, $2,500. So the results are absolutely amazing. So what happens after the presentation? Exactly what you see here. I walk out of there, not with leads, but with pre-set appointments, right? And what do we do with those appointments as from the churches, from the fundraisers? Exactly what you see here. We let them know we're going to give you the free travel certificate. And now that we are in your home, we're going to give you a free retirement or life insurance review, if you like. The majority of people say yes. So that's what generates now the business for us, right? They get their trip, but now that I'm sitting down with them at their dining table and they've already offered me coffee and sweetbread, now we're talking, it makes it really easy for me to say, okay, is there anything that I can answer for you? Do you have any questions about your retirement, about your life insurance, perhaps that I can answer for you? Then that opens the door, and that's how we generate business on the back end. So the bottom line, to finish up here, guys, is the trip incentive program has allowed me to create a win-win-win program. Why? Because through the marketing boost trip incentives, it has allowed me to create this program where the churches win. And then the churches win because we are able to raise a lot of money for them in a matter of minutes. The members win because then they unexpectedly receive a free vacation getaway, without even expecting that. And then, of course, I win because I come out of there with pre-set appointments where we're going to have a very high conversion ratio. So to date, we have raised nearly $100,000 for small churches using nothing but the marketing boost travel incentives, which is absolutely amazing. And here's the best part, especially for all of you who may be on the call here on the webinar who are new. I think Marco mentioned a few of you just less than a week to the program, or less than a month. But here's what I want to say with the big bold letters. The trips are real. They are legit. They are wonderful. And here's the proof. Like I said earlier when I told the story about a third of my clients being police officers, and I said there is no way I'm going to give a trip to an unknown location to a police officer or a VIP client who may have a bad experience. So my wife and I said, no, the first thing we're going to do is we are going to take the first trip and we are going to check it out. We're going to see if it's legit. We're going to see if it's real. We're going to see what problems we encounter, what difficulties, because we want to experience exactly what our clients would experience. That way we know how to address it or to not even offer the trips. So that's me and my wife. The first thing we did, we gave ourselves the Cancun trip to the Mayan Palace. So there we are, 2 years ago, taking off for Cancun. There we are after we checked in at the Mayan Palace in Cancun. There is the lobby of the Mayan Palace in Cancun, the trip that I received from Marketing Boost. Here is our room, the exact room where we stood. A very nice room. There's a nice little patio outside. Very, very nice, right? There was no cockroaches. There was no mice running around. There was no very, very nice rooms, right? Right across the street from the Mayan Palace is Cirque du Soleil. So my wife and I were able to enjoy a nice evening there at Cirque du Soleil. And as you see here, obviously we were able to be tourists around town, around the Cancun area, the beaches, everything that Cancun has to offer, right? And if you go to Cancun, obviously you have to go visit one of the 7 wonders of the world, which is Chichen Itza, and it's just absolutely amazing, right? So, but one of the things that I require when I give my trips away, I tell my clients, there's only one requirement. When you're at the trip, you have to take pictures. and you have to do a video testimonial, and they do, right? So for example, here's one of my clients, a sheriff officer in Cancun, one of the trips that we gave him at the Omni Resort, right? Law enforcement. He's a pastor and his whole family right there at Chichen Itza, Cancun, one of the trips that we gave him. Here's a business owner in Cancun and his wife, right? He took her for their anniversary in Cancun. This is a supervisor for TSA, federal employee in Cancun with her husband, right, to celebrate a birthday, right? There's a teacher in Cancun and her husband, right? They went also to celebrate their anniversary, again, in a trip that we used through Marketing Boost, right? Another pastor at the Mayan Palace and his wife that went to Cancun. And here's, we keep on giving this trips out. So here's one client that will be going to Cancun here in a matter of weeks. And here's another client that will be going to Hawaii here also in a matter of weeks as well, right? I wanted to share this because this is very powerful. This is the old system of how Marketing Boost used to give the trips away, but this is my actual email that I received for Book VIP a couple years ago when I enrolled. You see the date there back in 2018, but you see the arrow there. That's the most powerful thing about all this, that I received my email confirmation and the price was zero. Very, very powerful, but that wasn't enough. It really isn't to receive an email that says this thing is free, right? So what I did when I checked into the Mayan Palace right there on the counter, I wanted to see if they displayed what the cost, the actual cost of staying there was, and here it is. As I was checking in, I spotted it. I took a picture. This is the master room they gave us. As you see, the actual cost, 7,300 pesos a night, which equals in English to $452 per night. This was a 6-day, 5-night stay. So 5 nights at $452 is over $2,000. Well, that's wonderful. But my wife and I kept on saying, well, when we check out, maybe that's where the surprise is going to come in, something bad's going to happen when we're checking out. Well, that's checking in. This is us checking out. This is my actual credit card bill when I checked out after spending 6 days, 5 nights at a wonderful 5-star resort, the Mayan Palace in Cancun. As you see there, I checked out with a bill of $164. And that's because they have like 10, 15 restaurants on site. So we charged a lot of meals to the room. They have a daily resort fee of like $10. Anyways, a whole week in a 5-star resort in Cancun, you come out of there paying $150. Sign me up all day long. It is very, very legit. That gave my wife and I the confidence to be able to begin offering it to our clients. And as you saw by the pictures, we have given away literally hundreds of these trips, right? So the bottom line here, as to close up, Marketing Boost incentive program for me has been an absolute game changer. It has allowed me to bless others. And last year alone, in 2019, as a result of using Marketing Boost travel incentives, I was able to generate about $100,000 exclusively by using the trip incentives, either directly or indirectly. So the program absolutely works. It has also allowed me to hang out with very cool dudes in Cancun. So I appreciate that opportunity very, very, very much. So once again, bottom line, thank you, Marketing Boost. You are truly a game changer.